hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheyenne, and I am a mom, wife, nurse, rancher, business owner, and I am on a budgeting journey of decreasing debt and increasing savings. And through all of that, I am just sharing with everyone to hopefully inspire you, educate you, or just for you to enjoy this content. So if any of that sounds good for you, please be sure and give this video a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. All right, so today we are going to be budgeting one of our nurse checks. So we are going to be budgeting with $2,886. And so we are going to start with our fixed expenses or our bills, and we're going to start with gym equipment. And we bought a little bit more gym equipment for our gym, and so I just use this paycheck to pay for that. So we're budgeting $1,032. We'll budget for offering. We're going to budget $100. And then budgeting for medical, and we're doing $400. And then just remember that our budget is where we put like what we're guessing that our paycheck will be and or what we're guessing our bills will be. And then over here in the actual column, we're putting exactly how much we spent. So for example, my paycheck was actually $2,886.86. And then this gym equipment was actually $1,031.97. And we want to make sure we're putting in these actual amounts. That way we know if we're over budget or under budget. So we're always going to put in our budget of what we think the bill will be, and then what it actually is, what actually comes out of our account. Okay, so that's it for our fixed expenses. So let's just total that up. So 1,032 plus 500 is 1,532. And now remember, we take what we budgeted here and we subtract that from our income. So 2,886 minus 1,532. So we are left with $1,354 to now use for our variable expenses and or our sinking funds. So today we're going to skip our variable expenses and we're just going to go straight over to our sinking funds. So we're going to take that leftover value of 1,354 and put that here so we know what we're budgeting with. All right, so for our sinking funds, we're going to start with Christmas and we're going to budget for $100. Then we're going to do Thanksgiving. And again, we're going to budget $100. Then we've got the 100 envelope challenge, and we're budgeting $100 for that. We've got our home gym, and we are budgeting $510 for that. We have our 6-month ahead binder, and we're budgeting $423 for that. Then we have Cheyenne's envelope. We're doing 20. We're going to do 20 for Kyle. We're going to do 30 for Ryder, because if you watched our last video of revamping our binders, I originally had Ryder and Cooper as one envelope, but I recently broke them apart and gave them their own envelopes. And when I did that, Ryder was short $10. So I did 30 for him and then 20 for Cooper. So now they'll have the same. Okay, so that's it for that. So now we're going to take our $1,354 and we're going to subtract here. So we have 300 minus 510 minus 423 minus 20, 40, 60, 90. Oh, hang on. 1,354 minus 300 minus 510 minus 423 minus 20, 40, 60, 90. Perfect. So we have $31 left over. And so we did a total of $13.23 for our savings. And this leftover, I'm going to just leave in the bank as a buffer. So I'm just going to write a little note here, leave in as a buffer. Now, at the end of the month, when I close out my budget, I'm going to see what I have left over. And then that money I can then put towards savings or again, leave in the bank as a buffer. I like to leave $500 to $1,000 in the bank as a buffer in the case that we have an expense come up that we didn't plan on, or we had a bill that was way over what we thought. That way we have a little bit of extra money in the account and it's not going to break us. We're not going to go negative and we have that little bit of cushion. So now that we have everything written down, now we need to break down what we're going to put in our cash envelopes. Okay, so for the gym equipment, like I said, we already purchased that. And this money was just to replenish that. So that was left in the bank. Offering is left in the bank because I do that as an electronic transfer. Medical, we're going to pull out and put in our envelope, and we're doing $400 for that. And then we'll need Christmas, and that's $100. We'll do Thanksgiving, and that's $100. We'll do the 100 envelope challenge, and that was $100. We'll do our home gym, and that was $510. Then we'll do our 6 month ahead, and that was $423. Then we'll do Cheyenne, Kyle, Ryder, and Cooper. And these were all 20 except for Ryder was 30. Perfect. So now that we have our categories listed for the envelopes, we come over here to our cash denomination breakdown. And this is where we are going to write what we want for the bank, what we want to get when we go to the bank. So here we're going to put okay, so we're going to go through and write what our denominations are that we want. So for medical, we're just going to do $400 bills. We're going to do one $100 for Christmas, one for Thanksgiving. And I accidentally did one for the 100 envelope. So I'm going to have to see if I can find some change and do this a little differently, but we'll get there. For our home gym, we are going to do 500s and 110. For our 6 month ahead, we're going to do, okay, so for my envelope, we're just going to do a 20, a 20, a 20, and a 10, and a 20. Okay, so I think 3, and then 50. 350. Did 220, so 50, 6, 70, 90. Did 3 ones. And maybe 2 5s. Okay, I think this is what I did. So 350, 370, 390, 400, and 3. Maybe this one is 3. We shall see. This might be wrong. Okay, so let's total this up and see what we did. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then 150, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 2, and 3. Okay, so this is going to be 1,500. This is going to be 50. 7 times 20 is 140. Then we've got 20, 10, and 3. Okay, so if we total this up, we've got 1,500 plus 50 plus 140 plus 30 plus 3. So we're at 1,723. Yeah, that's right. We have our 1,323 plus our 400. Perfect. Okay, so that is correct. So then I also did, when I went to the bank, so I've already filled this out and I already went and got my cash. But when I went to the bank, I did an extra $250 because I owe my Christmas envelope $100 from a previous budget. And then I owe my electric 6-month ahead by envelope $150 from taking cash from those envelopes for some purchases we made. So I just needed to replenish those. And so we did a total of $1,973. So that is perfect. Okay, sorry, that was a little tricky. But when you do your breakdown of what cash you want, then of course you can use one of these little teller slips and write exactly what you want and just hand this to the teller. They'll give you all the cash you want. You can also just write it on a piece of paper. Some banks have like a spot on the back that you can write it. Some don't. We have a few different banks in our area, and I usually go to one or the other. One of the banks has a spot on the back of their sheets. One of them doesn't. So not really sure why. But anywho, the teller slips are just nice, and then you can bring them home with you, and then you know exactly what you took out. So that is what I prefer to do. Okay. So we've got this all wrote out. So now we know what we're taking to the bank, and we have our budget done. So now, again, when you are towards the end of the month and you close out your month, you need to go through and write all of your actual spending out. So for our sinking funds, these are all we can already fill in the actual column if we wanted, because we've already pulled that money out. For some things like our bills, we may add in more later, or they may be a little different. But for us, this budget particularly is a little easier because we already know exactly what we've pulled out. So for other budgets, so like this is my budget from our previous paycheck that we did. So you can see here, I've already had some things come out. So for like school, it wasn't $200, it was $166.58. But then our phone, I budgeted for $260 and it was $261. So that's why sometimes I do budget these over a little bit, so that if we have one that comes out a little more, then I have that buffer. And that was kind of where I was saying too, that I like to keep like the $500 to $1,000 buffer in my checking account. So if for some reason a bill is higher than I thought it was going to be, I have that buffer there. So that is our budget for our October 3rd paycheck. So be sure to drop a comment below, give us a like, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And as always, let me know about any of your budgeting wins that you've had this week, this month, this year, and have a blessed week. We'll see you next time. Bye.
When I wake, he's by my side. In his peace I will abide. Through the storm or gentle breeze, my Savior.